I'm an Eva Taylor, and I am a marketing strategist. So when you hear the word marketing, you typically think about promotions and trade shows and advertising. I am not one of those people. I'm not one of those people. Those things come later, after I do my work. I'm a marketing strategist, and what that means is that I specialize in, A, figuring out what you are really, really good at, what your strength is, then finding your ideal customer, figuring out what's important to them when they're buying what you're selling, and then getting them to choose you every single time, regardless of price. Okay? Because that's really what marketing is all about, isn't it? Okay? So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. Now, you may find me, if you were to Google my name, you're going to find me in about 3 places, maybe 4. The first place is that I run a boutique consultancy called Third Force. So that is my corporate affiliation. The second place you'll find me is through my very casual blog called Strategy Stew. The third place you'll find me is through my brand new membership site called DIYMarketers.com. Write that one down. Okay, because it's free for now. This is really, really new. It's free to join. It's pay to play. So it's called DIY Marketers. It's specifically designed for people who are responsible for getting and keeping customers for their business. Okay, so you're either like I was for a lot of years, all by yourself in a corporation, and you're the only marketing person. And my favorite statement used to be, oh, my staff of me, myself, and I will get right on that. Right? So if you're the one that's responsible for getting and keeping customers, DIY Marketers is a great place for you. It's currently a community of about 100 people who are all marketers, just like you. We run a tweet chat every Monday from 11:30 to 12:30 where we exchange information, and I'll tell you more about that at the end if you want to know more. It's a little complicated sometimes. Oh, and the very last place you'll find me, amongst others, is with Anita Campbell on small business trends, because I am her book editor and I review a lot of the business books that come out, and I read every single one of them because I have a small addiction that she helps me feed. So those are all the different places where you'll find me online. But today, when I talked to Kelly about what we should be talking about, I said, what do you think that your people would want to hear? And he says, how about something on market planning? I'm like, ooh, how exciting. Market planning? Who here has a marketing plan? Oh, get out. Kind of, sort of, not really. Marketing plan. How most of us feel about market planning.
Right.
Yes?
Yeah.
Hello. Okay. Can I just tell you a secret? I'm going to tell you lots of secrets today, all my very favorite secrets. So then you won't even have to hire me because I'm going to tell them to you. I don't have a big old fat marketing plan. Who has a big fat marketing plan? Rock on, my woman. But I don't have one. Okay? And I was wondering why. So I sat down when we were talking about this, and I've had about 5 presentations before I got to this one that I was going to share with you. Because as I was going through it, I thought to myself, I know people have marketing plans, or they think they have marketing plans, or they have these big things that they call marketing plans. Who's doing their marketing plan? Okay, excellent. Excellent, because we are all very normal, because I have written my share of marketing plans. My first one was when I first started working, and it was like 100 and some pages long, because I was in corporate America. It was 100 and some pages long. And then I got to be a marketing manager, and then it kind of whittled down to like maybe 25 or 50. And then I was the worldwide director of marketing from Monsanto. Guess how long my marketing plan was? 3. 3 pages, and 1 for every team that I worked with. Because I suddenly realized that it was not, that, you know, I really wanted to get behind this. There is something happening here for all of us. So this is not going to be a presentation about how to write a marketing plan, because, like, how many books have you guys got on how to write a marketing plan, right? And we have none. Okay, so I'm like, what is wrong and why is it like this? Okay? It's like this because a marketing plan is not what we want, is it? It is not what we want. This is what we want. Now, if all these people had like big giant wads of cash that they were saying, here, take my money, that would like even be better. That would be more of what we wanted.
We wouldn't need you.
We wouldn't, exactly. But you don't need me. And that's what I'm here to tell you. You don't need me, and you don't need a six-figure marketing person. You just need you. You really just need you with a little addition from DIYMarketers.com. Okay, no, seriously. No, seriously. Let's not call it a marketing plan anymore, I say. Because that just has, that associated with it. That's not fun. I've decided in this case that whatever I want to accomplish plan, I'm going to reframe this for you a little bit. Really, it's what is it that you really want to accomplish with your company? These are all these little choices that you have. All the things that you can be. That is what we're talking about. That is a marketing plan. Your marketing plan, hell, I mean, who's had classes on goal setting? Like another epiphany 25 years later, right? What is a marketing plan? It's a goal setting process that will take you to this, which is what we really, really want. We want our ideal customer to choose us and not the other person, regardless of price. No matter what your price is, you want them to choose you every single time. Right? Yay! Yay! Okay, so here I'm going to get into some secrets. But before I do, first thing I want to do is reward this woman here who has put all this work into writing a big old marketing plan. Rock on. You're very welcome. This will help you get all those numbers together for your beautiful charts. Excellent. So now I'm going to share some secrets with you that I've kind of pulled together in really thinking about that horrible, painful process that nobody wants to do because we all want to get the results. We just don't want to do the work. And I think I'm here to tell you that you don't necessarily have to do that work. You need to do another kind of work. Okay? Secret number one. Now really, really pay attention to this. And since we have a little bit of time, we can even spend time talking about this. See this circle here? This is the world that you live in. Oh, I got to tell you a story, right? It's all about this. Okay, so at my first big corporate job, where I was like a marketing specialist or something like that, like 20-something, right? So I'm sitting in the interview. I drove like 6 hours from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia. I'm sitting in the interview. I'm like all nervous, right? My knees shaking like in that baby boom, whatever that movie was, where her knees like really shaking, Diane Keaton. I'm sitting there. And the guy says, he says to me, well, what do you know about little rubber stoppers? I'm like, what's a rubber stopper? And he says, it goes in a pharmaceutical package, like injectable drugs. You stick a needle in it. You've been to the doctor. I'm like, I don't know anything about little rubber stoppers. He says, well, what do you know about a pharmaceutical packaging? And I said, not a doggone thing. I said, how about we talk about like pricing or distribution or like something about marketing? I know a lot about that. How about segmentation? I know a lot about that. And he says, okay, long story short, I get this job. And what he says to me is, we want to hire you because we need some yellow pants thinking. Yellow pants thinking is what he called it. We want something completely different. And who doesn't want something completely different, right? And it stands to reason because what's the key component of marketing? Differentiation. We want to be different. We want to be unique, right? See, but then at one of my first meetings, I said, well, how about we do this? And they're like, well, we don't do that like that. I'm like, yeah, I know, that's the point. Your world in your business, as you know it, is inside the circle, right? Does anything new happen inside the circle? Not a doggone thing happens inside it. It's all very predictable. We know what's going to happen inside the circle. It's a cause and effect world inside the circle. And we all follow each other inside the circle, like moo, moo, sheep, cows, right? And there you are, you're inside the circle today, but after in the next 20 minutes, you will no longer be inside the circle. You'll be out here where all the opportunities are. That's where the good stuff is. That's where the money is. That's where the good stuff is, right? But it's kind of, but this is a comfortable place because we've been there for so long. It feels really good because you get to be right. You get to be all kinds of comfortable things inside the circle, right? But outside the circle where all the good stuff is, guess who is not outside the circle? Your competition. Because they're all busy in here doing the things that, like, well, we don't do things like that. That's not how it's done. I'm like, yeah, I know. The point is to be out here, okay? So does anyone have an example of how you're inside the circle and maybe how you might get outside the circle? Yes? Networking. Okay, tell me about networking.
Interacting and reaching out and talking to learning from professionals in different areas or different businesses so that you can generate different ideas.
Okay, so networking inside the circle. In what way? All that said, no offense, inside the circle, number one. In what ways can you take networking and push it out here? And now let me just give you a quick clue about something. When you're about to do something, like when I was about to put this presentation together, I was freaking out, scared, because this is not what people expect to hear for 6 secrets of the marketing plan. My stomach was tight, and this morning I thought I was going to puke. Okay? Guess where I was? Right there. When you feel that fear, like, guess what that fear is? We don't do that. Because we want to be inside the circle. It's so nice in there. It's like bed suck inside the circle. But when you feel tight and scared and you're like, ugh, now you're at the wall.
Right.
You can push through the door. So in what ways can you take networking and put it outside the circle?
When I think of it outside the circle, I'm thinking outside of my industry, outside of people, what I do, because Noah doesn't do what I do, so he may have some ideas that I'm like, oh my God, I would never do that, but that may work.
Gotcha.
Have your circle people introduce you to people in their circle, which is then outside your circle.
And let me dig deeper in that. Now, I know I'm tormenting you guys, but I'm tormenting you because I really, really want you to get something so you don't have to hire me. Okay, so what I want you to get is the message that you give inside the circle. So here you are. I'm networking, but now I'm going to network with some other people,
Yes.
right? But now, if you're going to do that, you may have to look for other benefits and other cool things that you're going to have to open your mind, right? So I don't want to dig too much into that, but Joel.
Yeah, I push my content out to about 15 different social marketing sites.
Okay.
But I also push it out to one that has nothing to do with franchising and small business. It's called Zimbio.
Oh, okay.
Zimbio is a huge high traffic site with a really tiny business component in it. It has like stuff about celebrities and just entertainment, but it ranks really high. I'm like the only person on there.
Awesome.
And I get a little bit of
Great
traffic.
idea.
I get a little bit of traffic.
One for you,
but
putting
totally
yourself
different. Totally
outside
different.
the circle.
ZIMBIO. Yeah, it's a really cool site. I mean, it's it's like celebrity-ish, but it's really high traffic. So,
Awesome. Excellent.
But that's definitely outside the circle.
Definitely outside the circle. So if there's so what I want you to do, based on this circle, and we could talk more about that, based on this first secret, is to remember that when you're feeling comfortable, when it's all good, just remember, you're inside the circle, right? Okay? When you feel sick to your stomach and you want to puke, okay, now you're at the wall. And you should say to yourself, instead of, I'm sick, I want to puke, and I'm going to go back inside the circle, what should you say to yourself then? Oh, goody. Oh, goody. Yay. Yay. Okay. And let me tell you something else right now. Who thinks the economy sucks right now? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Whatever. Not so great. What's everybody doing? I have a client that's sitting in an industry space where they are so scared that they got their nose to the grindstone and they're working. My client is dumping all his money in marketing strategy right now because he's like, right now they're busy being scared. I'm scared too. But I'm going to find a different message that's outside that circle, right? So what I'm trying to tell you about this particular secret is, take the time to acknowledge the fact that if you do this work right now while everybody else is freaking out, honey, you already outside the circle, right? Okay. So everybody got the circle part, right? Circle rocks. Okay? So what I'm saying to you is, what the whole theme of this is, your marketing plan comes from yourself. It's just goal setting. We all know how to do that. You got here, right? That's goal setting. You got up, you got dressed, you got in your car, and you got here. This is no different. Okay? What's different about having a marketing plan that's easy and fun and natural is when you understand this kind of stuff. This is what sets you apart. Okay. Secret number 2. Authenticity sells. Okay? Not just because it's a hot trend right now, but because being someone else, what do we tell our kids? Be yourself. Okay? And then I went to college and studied marketing, and then what they said was, pick a segment that you want, and then just chameleon yourself and change yourself to be them. Well, that was great in the 80s when everyone had millions of dollars to spend, but being someone else in your business is very expensive. It's expensive to communicate a message that you don't feel like 100% about, right? So you have to be who you are. You have to identify what your strengths are. You have to identify what it is that inside you sets you apart. Okay? What is it that you love to do? And who are the people you love to do it for? Okay? Anybody have something they want to say about authenticity? Yes?
I went to high school in the 80s, and I can remember in the 80s, because I had my own mind and my own opinion, that I was on the outer edge of everybody's circle, because they didn't like that. In the 80s, you had to conform.
Oh yeah, like
And
6
I was
layers
a
of...
non-conformist in every sense of the word. So that just did not fly back then, and I've stuck to that to this day. If you are not yourself, then how can you project yourself to others?
And you have to get to the point of, oh, this is one that I had on a slide but took it away. So reward for you. A for being unique. Rock on, my woman.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, another personal secret I have to tell you. Yeah, in the 80s, I was a punk rocker and had purple hair. And I'll tell you why. Because in the 80s, I went to Penn State. It was a big school. It was a very Greek school. Like everybody was in a fraternity and all that kind of good stuff. And they were like, oh, Ivana, do you want to come to a wine and cheese? Why is guys having a wine and cheese? I'm like, people, I'm a marketing major. I'm going to be whining and cheesing for the next 40 years. So no, I'm not going to come to your wine and cheese. I went slam dancing or something. Because at some point, you couldn't do that anymore. So now on the outside, I have to look like this. But in the inside, I'm slam dancing. All right. I was a ska woman. Woo! Okay, so But the key is then about authenticity is you have to love who you are. Okay, so like my name is Ivana, and if you lived in Serbia, there would be about 2 million other Ivanas walking around. Not unique. Move here in the 70s, you unique. I hated my name. I have been Ivana, I have been Juana, I have been all kinds of things that people misspell, and I hated everything. Which is why I had purple hair and did all that, probably. But it took me a while to figure out that you have to take what's unique about you and dig to identify what is that authentic freakiness that people are going to be attracted to, that comes naturally, that you do naturally. And for that, you're going to have to quiet your mind, take some time, and say, wow, this is really uncomfortable, totally outside the circle, but really, dig in what it is. Because you have friends, right? Who has customers that have given them money? Okay, hello, by definition, good enough. Right. Okay? So you want, in order to make your marketing planning process, your goal setting process, really, really effective, you're going to have to do this work. So it's a different kind of work. Sometimes it's easy to sit there in front of an outline and just put stuff in there. And you're like, why doesn't this work? Well, that's why it doesn't work. A, you're inside the circle. B, you're not using who you are every single day in that plan. That's why it doesn't get done. And that's why you don't get what you want. Yes, Noah.
One thing that we did recently, which was very effective based on what you're saying, is we did a focus group, our best customers, and the key was I was not on the phone. It was all done virtually because I'm mostly internet based. So I had two of my two staff people on the phone, and they were asking, who is Noah? What is your impression of him? Why did you buy from him? What is it that keeps you coming back? And like I said, the coolest thing was I wasn't there, so they could be very honest. He sucks, he's whatever, or whatever they said, and they just, and then I got a report back, which nobody said he sucked, which was good. But I think that was very helpful because that really helped us to see, where we needed to improve our message, and we were getting off message and things like that. So that's what I thought.
All right, rock on. Book exchange.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, you know what? You just said something. I'm going to give you just the most awesome assignment to do. I want you to do this maybe with a customer. I want you to do this with your significant other, spouse, best friend. Don't do this with a dog or a pet because they can't answer. And this is a conversation, so, but I promise you, it will not only give you some outstanding feedback, and thank you, Noah, for bringing that up. Here's what you're going to do. I want you to sit across from another person, okay, and one person at a time for 10 minutes, not less, and don't bail, 10 minutes. There's a reason. 10 minutes. Answer the question, who are you? And whenever that person kind of stops for a second, because you're going to run out, because this is not something we do, then say, that's wonderful. Who are you? The response, I'm getting chills just thinking about it, because when I did it, it blew my mind. What people say based on what you've said, and then reverse it and have them, ask them, who are you? And have them respond for 10 minutes. Yes?
Okay, here's part of the things that I've worked on in the past. A lot of people don't know when they're living off of a script that is not their own.
Right.
Because we've got all these ideas about what religion tells us, what our parents tell us, what society thinks, and so they've created this self based on all these other scripts, and they really don't know what it is that makes them happy.
Right.
Would that exercise help you get to that?
Absolutely. That's why it's 10 minutes. Because like the first 8 minutes will be consumed by all that other garbage. Right? And, but the last couple ones are really where it's at. And I think the one hint that I would do is I would say to you, try to use nouns or adjectives, like single words. Mm-hmm.
I actually, what you're talking about, this is what part of my teaching is about, and that is, it's in my book that just came out. So if anybody wants, I have that exact script you're talking about.
Oh, awesome.
So I will email it to anybody who wants it, for that. It's right in chapter 5. So I'll just mail you that part. It's right there. So just
look at
anybody
that.
who wants that. Because, and just to the point, what's that?
I said I started reading the book last night, you just need to get it.
Well, thank you.
There you go.
What I was saying is that it is hard to just sit there and say, who are you? So I gave people the script so that you can, what I always tell people to do is, because it can be a little embarrassing or uncomfortable, I say, hey, this guy told me to ask these questions. And I always say, make me the bad guy, because I won't be there. And just say, I was reading this, or, took this class, and they told me to do this. Would that be okay? And I've had a lot of people say it was the most transformational experience of their lives.
I'm telling you, it was, try this with your partner, whoever they may be. Again, dog's not good. Cat's not. We need feedback, okay? Because your dog did just say, woof, and look at you like, right?
May I say something on
Please.
authenticity? I'm Dolores Presley, and 25 years ago I started a model agency for plus-size women. And of course, back then, that was just like, talk about being on the edge and being scared. But the authenticity of just being who I am. I'm who I am. I've always been big. I was a 12-pound baby. Birthed me. But the whole point is that now I'm a professional speaker, and that parlayed me into, I've been on a lot of kind of talk shows, Oprah, Jerry Springer.
I know you. Did you do something? You did something with Norma. Did you do something with Norma Wrist or something?
I've done things with Norma. Yes.
Yeah, I saw your picture. I know you. Yeah.
And Norma went with me to England.
So nice to see you.
The whole point is that I was just being who I am.
Yes.
You just have to be who you are. And I just, no matter what society said, I would not allow them to determine my self-worth.
You have just hit on something really important. This is how, let me just tell you how it is that authentic marketing works and why it is so inexpensive and can be so effortless. Because when you are authentic, when you are outside the circle, when you are authentic, and when you use words that are your own, words are powerful, they create space. You create space. Do you guys feel the space? I feel the space. Create space? No, seriously. I feel the space because the space that we've created allowed Noah to share something, allowed Joel to share something that's useful. You create space, and that is so magnetic. Like, you cannot pay an ad to do that. You can't do it, okay? It just doesn't exist. Trust me, I've been doing it 25 years. It doesn't exist. This is what works. And it doesn't require, sitting in front of a computer all day. Okay, so I think I mentioned this one. Do what you love for people you love. Okay, because we get hung up. I know, especially as small businesses, we're a small business, and we want to have, these big-name companies as our clients, okay? Big companies are very expensive. Not for everyone, but for some of us. I worked for a company that was a decent-sized company. Well, I don't know, we were maybe $100 million. We were a manufacturer. Our customers were GM and Ford and Baxter and Merck and, big medical device companies, okay? But I found, in my office, I had this office, right? And it had, like all manufacturing companies, I had this office and it had a half wall, and then I had this big window, right, and the door. And through this big window, I got to look at customer service. So I had a lot of observational research going on. Okay, so I happened, to be working, and I look up, and this, one of the customer service reps, she picks up the phone, and she smiles, and she clicks on the computer, and she's smiling and talking, and 2 minutes later, she does something on the computer and hangs up the phone, and that was that. Uneventful, right? I swear to God, not 30 seconds later, phone rings again. Same woman picks up the phone and does and she's clicking on the computer, clicks again, going through a drawer, puts the phone down, runs to the other side of the office, flipping through some files, runs back, gets on the phone, right? Like 10 minutes later, it's finally over. She gets up, goes to the break room, has a cigarette, and pisses off like 20 other people. And so I follow her, right? So I'm like, I said, Judy, who was that on the phone? That was Baxter again. And they want to do this, and they need these drawings, and they need this, and I don't have that, and I have to do a special test now, and and there's this long list of to-dos. Why? Because they're Baxter, and they have 1 million employees, and they got someone dedicated to do nothing but making copies, right? Our system was not designed to deal with all their paperwork, okay? So it was highly unprofitable. Anybody does like Six Sigma or anything like that, right? Lean manufacturing, movement is a bad thing. Whenever you're not creating value, bad. So pain in the hiney customers are not people we love. So here's another clue. Your phone rings, you look on the call waiting, and if you go, ugh, probably not a good fit for you. Okay, that should be your first clue, not a good customer. And let me tell you something else. You're expending, and your numbers will never show it. They'll only show it a little bit. Although when I ran the numbers, so when I had this experience, I'm like, I'm going to run, and that chart is in here. Profitability by customer, by product. I said, I have got to know. I go to accounting, run me a report. Report comes back. I do the profitability numbers. What do you think I found? Who was making us more money? Big old Baxter? No. Some little teeny tiny less invasive surgical company that was just loving us. Our margins were like 50%. Baxter was like negative something. And here we were mobilizing millions of dollars worth of resources to make them happy for what? You know, don't need to say any more on that. Anybody want to share about this? What do you think about this? Yeah.
I worked for a couple of manufacturing companies. I was in the customer service department, and we would bend over backwards for some major retailers. Meanwhile, the company was going downhill, but they wanted the product on all their shelves, and so we were sacrificing everything to get the product on the shelf, and the company ended up going bankrupt.
Right. Because you just can't afford that. And how much in the circle, and then of course everybody's favorite phrase is, well, you have to work with people you don't like. I'm like, customers are like potato chips. There's always more. Always more. And the pain in the hiney customer who you are serving and hating every minute of the day on is taking up space. And somewhere out there is a customer that would love nothing more than to be yours and to have you do your thing with them. But no, people are taking up space. Let them go. That's the secret. So only focus on people you like. Maybe they just wear blue socks on Tuesdays. That's a good enough reason. It's yours. Okay?
Don't we like the customers that make us more profit?
Well, yeah, you like the customer.
We automatically like them, right?
Sure we do.
Okay.
But if you're not happy working with them, then what's the point?
If it's like this. I guess I have.
Sounds like an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yes.
I had a customer that I made a lot of money off of, but I was very unhappy because of the difference in values, morals, and ethics.
Abusive relationship.
I walked away from it because of this whole issue. It's about passion. And you're torn with, you go in and I'm going to make great money here, but the other side of this is that I don't like what we're doing in the community and the region. I don't really want to be part of it.
I've got a solution for that for you.
You walk away from the customer.
I want to hear that. What is it?
Okay. Well, when you don't like doing something, we intrinsically poo-poo it in our minds.
Right.
Okay? And
Yes.
it doesn't normally go well for us, even if we're making money. It's not a win-win scenario.
Gotcha.
However, there are people out there, particularly this economy, that love doing that kind of stuff that you don't like doing, and they're good at it. And they will probably do it based on a commission basis.
Excellent.
You just have the right to add correctly so that you seek them out, as opposed to, why do something you don't want to do? You only do that in the beginning when you have to. Then you get rid of it and give it to somebody who wants it.
But you keep it and pass it on.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. But let me just admit something to you, right? Because right along your making money thing. So it's like this. I have a PETA factor, pain in the, factor that I use. And if, and I use it like this, I'm like, you know what? This servicing and doing this particular activity, A, is not something I'm good at. B, is for people that are like, not really feeling them, right? So what I do is I incorporate the factor. And the way the factor works is, what amount of money would make me happy to do that work? Where I would smile when the phone rang, and I would be happy to do it. And sometimes that's worked, and sometimes it hasn't. But that's just, because we usually tend to underprice, and so this just is one way to really test out that relationship, and maybe you'll find something in that that's worthwhile. Maybe that's the money that I use to outsource some of those activities. Boy, what a great suggestion. Thank you. Thank you. Yes?
What do you do about customers that, like you said, are difficult and a pain in the butt, but they have like a little cachet to them? Like for me, I had, Target Corporation.
Right.
Which they pay in 90 days. They treat you like shit. Like crap. And, but when you got Target on your client list, it's like, boom, it's like a chick magnet.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. So you can have Target on your client list and be broke and upset, or you can have 5 other people who are like totally awesome to work with. You can't wait to get up in the morning, but it's 5 of that. What good is the 9? I'm over that. So over that. I know what you're saying, and I acknowledge that, and to the point where I have been there, and maybe just because I've had so many of these experiences and done so many of the numbers and felt so much of the pain. So I remember I was talking to this one consultant, and he's telling me some of this stuff, and I'm like, how do you do that? How do you actually say that to somebody, or how do you even get to the point of asking that question? And do you know what he told me? He said, if you've been pooped on enough, you're going to say it, and you're going to do it, and you're going to get over it. Okay, and a few years later, poof, I was there. So, yes. Yeah.
Real quick, I wanted to share something
Yeah.
that might help some people.
Excellent.
Yesterday, I got a referral for a franchise company located here who heard about me and wanted me to maybe help them with a little marketing and social media stuff. And I remember hearing the franchise company's name about 3 months ago. And their offices were raided by the FBI. Okay?
Oh, boy.
And now, my business is struggling, okay? Cash flow is like king right now. I don't even want to call them. I'll call them and say hi, but I'm not working with them. Because I have enough faith in my business and what I'm doing that I know something else will come along that will be okay. You just have to have the courage to do that. I know it's going to be a headache to work with this company, and if something happens to that company, my name is in a small way maybe associated with it. I'm not doing it. I won't do it.
That is your brand. I just had this conversation on the phone while I was getting lost around Akron.
That's why you got lost.
That's why I got lost. Yeah, because I was talking to a professional guy, and I said, you need to understand the personal brand is everything right now. I don't care if you're an individual business owner or if you run a company and you're hiring people, it's all about personal brand. So you can't risk having your name or anything like that associated with something that isn't going to click. Some other advice I got from this consultant that all by himself bills like $8 million a year. I'm like, wow, I'll listen. So what he said to me was, One, you must always, always know exactly what you need to do to be successful. What do you need to set yourself up for success? And if it doesn't look like that, if you can't create that space and environment for you to be successful, just say no. Do not do it, because your reputation is on the line for that. So no matter how much money, no matter, and this works for not just business or consulting, this works like in every case, you know. So I have a story around that too, but I don't think I have time to tell it. I'm just full of them.
It's almost 10 till, just so you know.
Okay, if the position fits, wear it. Okay, so where a lot of people struggle when they're doing their marketing plan and we're setting goals and trying to figure out what sets them apart, where they really, really struggle is they try to pick a uniqueness, you know. And I'm just here to tell you from lots and lots of experience, they don't all fit, okay? And here's how you know when you're really on to something. You're really on to something when, just based on that idea, based on that position, that feeling of authentic, okay, I'm outside the circle, I'm being authentic, I have customers I love to work with, and out of that comes this position of who I am, right? So if that fits, if it's a good thing, you can live with that and you'll have a million ideas about things that you can offer, customers you can serve. It will just come to you effortlessly. You'll be like Mozart. It is just going to happen for you. If it is hard, if you got to really stretch to make it fit, it's no good. Take it off. Pick something else. No one says you have to pick one thing or three. Pick 500. Shoot, it took me, I am in the business. It took me 3 years to figure out the getting chosen part. I've been doing marketing for 25 years. It took me 3 years to figure out that what it was all about was getting chosen for me. Okay? So I'm not, you know, maybe this, you know, so you thought this was going to be easy. At least it'll be more fun to do than just typing, right? Okay? Any comments on positioning? We've kind of been talking about it all along, haven't we? Okay, so this is the part I really, really want to focus on. Okay? It is so not about the outline, so not about the format. It's about finding a format that you can live with. Do you know what my marketing plan looks like? It is a bubble, and in a bubble it says $1 million. And then I thought to myself, well, geez, if I'm going to make $1 million, I better be doing something, because it's going to take a lot of time. I better do something like I really like to do. So what are things I like to do? Well, I like to talk to people, I like to write, and I like to play on the computer. So those were like my 3 things. Okay? So that's how it came. Out of the bubble came those 3 things. And out of those 3 things came other ideas. All, you know, you got, you know, goal setting all around those 3 things. And I just pick one goal for the year, right? 10,000 names on DIYMarketer. That's my goal. 10,000 names, 2,000 buyers. That's the goal. I'm telling you, now you know. And so, hence, when an opportunity came up and said, do you want to speak to a bunch of small business owners? I was like, geez, Sabina, I haven't done that in a while. Is it going to help me get to 10,000 names, 2,000 buyers? I'm in. There's my marketing plan, right? Easy. It's all in the little thing, right? So find a format that works for you. Mine's a little circle with a little visual thing. Yours might be an outline. You know, yours might be, I don't know what it is. But find something that works for you. Focus. I just told you about my, you know, out of all those things, and even the slides in the beginning about being famous or whatever, don't kid yourself. If you want to be famous, say I want to be famous. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. I want to be known. Because, right, if you're not honest with yourself about that, and you're like, well, what I really should be doing is like doing this activity because that's what's in the marketing plan. No, your brain says, I want to be known. So do your marketing plan around that. Focus on something, and then when you make progress, focus on something else. Last stuff, feel. Okay, this might be a little too much for the non-feeling sharing people. Go with it, try it on for size. I've been talking about feelings quite a bit, and I hope that they've been concrete enough for you about feeling when it's right. You know, sometimes the bad feeling is a good thing. Now you know where you're at, and you can make the decision, do I want to step outside the circle or not today? Okay? So you have to make sure that it feels right, because you're not going to do anything, right? I always tell people, if you want to know what's important to you, take a look at your monthly credit card statement. That's where your time and your money's going, so be honest with yourself about that. There it is. Right? Okay? So if you're going to make a marketing plan work, it's not about what it looks like and what you put in it. It's about what you want and how you're going to go about getting it without deluding yourself. Okay? See, that's why you hate it, because you're deluding yourself. Don't do it anymore. Vow, right? Who's not going to delude themselves anymore? Be happy with their marketing plan? The last thing is momentum. Once you get started, that must be in your book. Is that in your book because you're smiling?
Everything you're teaching is right on the money. It's great.
It's all about momentum, okay? So what have we talked about? You've just taken the step outside the circle. You're being authentic. You're putting yourself out there. You've said no to people that suck, right? You have already done this, right? Here you are. I'm outside the circle. I'm vulnerable. I've taken this huge risk. Why would you stop? Don't stop now. Because when you're in that space, people will come to you. Remember I said, because you're being authentic, you're saying your message, you're doing it, everything you do. It's like the whole Zen thing. Archery, motorcycle maintenance, the tea party thing, tea ceremony thing. Everything is about intent and what you're doing. Anybody seen that movie Chocolat? Yes. Have you seen that? What they did in this movie, and then my favorite scene is actually the very beginning. So what they did is they made feelings very real in the movie. So what happens is, basically, one sister's getting married, and the sister that's getting married is marrying the man that the one sister loves, of course. So, of course, the jilted sister is sitting there making the wedding feast. How cruel is that, right? So she is stirring a soup, and she is crying in her soup. Crying in her soup. She's crying at all the food. Okay? And then when they get to the banquet, people start eating her food, and what do? They start crying. Because everything you put in is what gets out there. And that is the one thing you need to do. You don't need a fancy marketing person. You don't need any website mumbo-jumbo stuff. You don't need anything if it isn't authentic, if it isn't you, and if you lose momentum. Okay? So that's what I want you to take away from all this. So no matter which one you choose, that one, that was me. I mean, it's really not me, but it's kind of like me. Okay? Oh yeah, this was the second me. Much more sophisticated back then. And this is like the third me. This is pretty much what my plan looks like right now. But whichever one you choose, make it sing your song. Okay? Questions, comments? That's all she wrote.
Awesome.